Ahoy, ladies and gents, how you doing? It is the 26th of September, Monday, the 26th of September, 2022. Welcome to the BBC Spews. Much better than that pre-recorded one, that was edited and nice and succinct and reasonable. But then Susan grabbed me by the plums and kept deleting it. So you've just got to put up with this one instead, haven't you? It's nowhere near as professional as the old BBC Spews, is it? Everybody knows that. This is where you come for professional video editing. Who's in? Katza Cottle, Ether Elephant, Kate, Sadwings, Kirky Bally, Robert Ewan, Chris Collin, Balls, 2 all, Mr. Spoon, Mark Thompson, Scouse Obi, Ragnar's in, Stevie On, Kate, hello Kate, Jack McLeod, Davy Boy the Codhead, Sean Rice, Schilliner, loads of you anyway. Trev, Ad76, Terry Wuckford, Independent News Media, Habitual Turnip, just to everybody else. How are you? What a weekend, eh? Brilliant. It's brilliant news every weekend, isn't it? Pedos all over. The BBC News should just be BBC pedo programming. There's been some amusing things on Twitter today as well. I'm going to talk about them as well. I know this is meant to be the BBC Spews, but some things you just have to address, don't you? Salty Cracker did a good one. Again, I cannot believe what I see nowadays. Every year's got more mental. Like when I very first started doing this, because I was so enraged by the endless stream of pure, unadulterated shite. I was surprised then. What was that, 2019? I was amazed then. I was like, this is mad, this. But now, 2022 me would go back to 2019 me and say, hey, mate, strap yourself in because you haven't seen it out yet. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd see full-blown nonsense openly promoted on the mainstream media. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the grooming gangs was quite bad, but when you fully understood just how powerful the ists and the isms were, like I'm sure everybody who's sensible enough to watch this channel, when you fully understood just how powerful the ists and the isms were, you could understand why the grooming gangs was a thing, because it's so all-consuming and terrifying to anybody in the public eye being labelled, because obviously the commies have taken over all of the mainstream media and the radio networks and the TV stations and basically all of mass media and Silicon Valley. So you can understand why people in positions of power are so scared. They're terrified. They are terrified. And that's not hyperbole at all, is it? Because terrified, it's almost like we need to invent a new word for very, very, very scared. Terrified doesn't even do it justice. And I'll tell you why. Is there anything that you can think of? Is there any crime that you can think of that's worse than what we let the grooming gangs get away with? Can you think of it? Like, seriously, if someone said there's someone raping and killing and torturing children, do you think there's anything worse than that? I can't think of one. You can pick all the people through history who didn't do that. Jeffrey Dahmer, he tortured and killed grown men. So he's not as bad, is he? If you had to make a pecking order, I'm not, obviously, before any woke, communist, lying sack of rats edits this and goes, fucking hell, Angry Bootneck loves Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Before they edit this, let's just say, I'm not pro Jeffrey Dahmer, but if you were to ask normal humans to put on a pecking order the worst humans have ever crawled out of the slime, right? I think the ones that torture, rape, and kill children would be always viewed as the worst. Like they might say, a regular serial killer like Peter Sutcliffe used to kill women, but he killed grown women. So if you had to pick between like Peter Sutcliffe or Ian Huntley, people would probably put Ian Huntley slightly higher because he killed little girls. There's a pecking order, isn't there? And there is nothing worse than torturing and killing children. Nothing. Like no serial killer who chops up 20 men with an axe would ever be deemed by normal people to be worse than someone who tortures and kills children. Like, you're seriously broken. Yeah, there we go. There, Jack, poor old Jack. I mean, he was basically an upstanding gentleman compared to old hunters, wasn't he? So the fact that all of our leaders and the mainstream media in Silicon Valley and all the politicians and the police chiefs and the mayors and everybody went, they're only fucking and killing kids. I mean, come on. I don't want to risk getting called a racist. That's the equation they all did. The evidence was so overwhelming and so open for everybody with eyes to see. I told you, there was a story about a copper turning up at a car park in like Bradalabad, yeah, and seeing a bloke getting a chew off a little girl. And when the copper said, "What's going on here?" Matey went, "She's sucking me off, mate." And the copper shook his head, wound the window up and drove off. Because the Home Office sent a circular around saying, "We've decided that children can consent when the men shagging them are from swarthy foreign chaps. Children can consent." Yeah, that's what the Home Office said. That's what Gordon Brown said. That's what they all said. As long as the people raping them have got a bit of a tan, the consent. Can't consent if you're shagging them, Mr. Pasty White arsehole, yeah? You guarantee if some pasty ginger Scotsman was rogering a 12-year-old, they wouldn't think that the 12-year-olds can consent. But as long as the person doing the raping and the torturing and sometimes the murdering of the little kids, as long as that person is on the intersectionality pyramid, yeah, as long as he's on the pyramid, then 10-year-olds can consent. And none of that I've just said is hyperbole. It's all now a documented fact. It's all come out of the woodwork. You can't. They might like burning books and banning people that talk, like the Free Speech Union, banning people that speak. They might like doing all of that, but ultimately the truth will set you free. They can't hide the truth forever. And that's all a fact. Now we all know it's a fact. It was endemic. It was tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of victims. They're all coming out the woodwork to tell the story. They're all talking about it. I read another good one about a girl who went into a kebab shop. She was like 13 and drunk because she was getting abused. And she literally walked into a kebab shop with jizzy knickers and went in, and they were like covered in blood and fucking crusty spunk, and threw it in the face of the bloke who'd obviously given her a good singing to the day before and went, "You fucking bastard." And when the police turned up to this, what would you call it, altercation, the coppers arrested her. It happened to fathers. There's fathers come out and said, "I knew that my daughter was above a dirty kebab shop in Bradalabad. And when I tried to rescue her by banging on the door, when the Rozzers turned up, they arrested me. And I was telling them, my 12-year-old daughter's behind that door with 20 hairy Afghans." The coppers went, "She's consenting, mate." Hang on, are the blokes raping her? Have they got a bit of a tan? Yeah, they have, yeah. She's consenting then. If the bloke's raping her with ginger, then she can't consent, and that's rape and child abuse and torture. But because the men are foreign, we've been told by the cycloptic fucking mutant squatter in Downing Street that it's fine. It's fine. So this is all true. You all know it's all true. They lied about it for 25 years and nobody ever got prosecuted because they're terrified. So again, is any of that hyperbole? They're terrified. Being called an ist or an ism in this day and age is beyond terrifying. If we can invent more words that are more scary than terrifying, let's do that, because it works. It works a treat. Of course it did, Sadwings. Of course it did. Of course it did. Anything they did was brushed under the table. And this is what I've said many times. The weirdest thing about it all is, what do you think made people embrace far-right politics? Politics that I do not agree with. I've had my fair share of very, very, very right-wing people in here having a pop at me because I don't play the game. I don't care about anybody's gender or race or any of it. I don't care. All I care about is what you think. I like black people that are very conservative. I like Thomas Sowell. I like women that are very conservative. Thatcher is my favourite prime minister. Well, she's not even very conservative, is she? She's a wet, free market libertarian type. I don't care what you are. I like one bollock dwarves if they agree with my politics. And I don't like straight white men that are woke, limp-wristed apologists for swarthy rapists. So I don't care about your gender or your sexuality. I like Darren Grimes. He's a bit of a wimp, isn't he? And he happens to be a flaming homosexual. But I like Darren Grimes because he's got a bit of integrity, and he said Brexit should happen because the working classes voted for it. And as a result of that, they've been lambasting him on social media for the last 4 years. The amount of shit that kid gets on Twitter is quite baffling to me. So this is just the world we're living in. It's crazy, crazy town. And I find it completely ridiculous. But anyway, I just went on another rant there. The story I wanted to talk about, I put on my Twitter, so I'm just going to quickly find it. Oh, God. And have you noticed how everybody's a Nazi to these people? Look at this one. Bradwings will have to tell me, who is Bill Crystal? Because he seems to be, for some reason, he's got over 1 million followers. So they actually take this lunatic seriously. And he's put, if exit polls are right, the Conservatives will come to power in Italy just weeks after Conservatives in Sweden won. This can be a trend. Conservatives everywhere need to define the choice. So what it is, us versus them. Everyday people versus globalist elites who've shown they hate us. And he says, no doubt, they'd have been similarly celebrating Conservatives coming to power in Germany. Germany in 1933, yeah, why I like. I mean, again, I was a man of his intellect and wide appeal to those, anybody milling around the centre in the United States. I was a bloke with that much of a large audience talking about Nazis all the time. Everybody is a Nazi to these people. Do you remember? That's what I said to him. Everyone is a Nazi that you don't like. Boris Johnson, wet woke Boris Johnson, spent most of his premiership getting called a Nazi and a fascist. They say, and they try and muddy the waters by inventing new terms like far-right adjacent. Have you heard that one? Fascist adjacent. What does it even mean? You're either a fascist or you aren't. This is the woke lexicon in action. They invent words to deliberately obscure the water because all they do is lie. Boris Johnson, if you think Boris Johnson is far right, there is nothing I can say to you other than you've got a head full of horse shit. It's demonstrably ridiculous. There's nothing else I can say to you. Like, there isn't an argument going on here. You're just wrong. You're just wrong. And the idea now that these maniacs think anyone who doesn't agree with all of their politics on everything is a fascist is laugh out loud funny, because that term has a dictionary definition. And when fascists come into power, fuckers like this lunatic, Bill Crystal, get rounded up. That's what fascists do. calling Trump a fascist was beyond the pale. And he's about 10 steps right of Boris Johnson. Because this is the point I made many, many times. If Donald Trump was a fascist, he would have done some fascist things. We're not talking about conjecture anymore because Donald Trump was the president for 4 years. He was in charge. And now he's talking about them running again. They're like, fascist, oh my God, if Donald Trump wins, we'll all be going into death camps. He was in charge. Listen to yourselves. Listen to what you say, what is coming out of you between your forked tongues, between your lying, slimy lips, worm tongue. Listen to what you're saying. Oh my God, if Trump wins, we're definitely getting the death camps. He was in charge for 4 years. And what did he do? What did he do? 4 years of Donald Trump. What did he do? What did he do that was fascist? What did he do that was Hitler? Oh my God, Hitler adjacent. Well, some of them said literally Hitler. What did he do? 4 years of premiership of his presidency. What did he do? He made peace with that little fat mulleted little weird fucker in Korea. He sorted it out with China. He squared the border away. He observed the rule of law all the time. And every time some Ninth Circuit judge or some activist twat or some bullshit lefty lawyer or some ginger comedian wielded his head on the front of a magazine, what did he do about it? What did he do about it? Did Kathy Griffin hold his head up and 2 days later, Kathy Griffin got buried in a hole in the desert? Did a Ninth Circuit judge shoot down his legislation and a couple of days later, the judge and his family disappeared? Did anybody get a free helicopter ride off the fascist Donald Trump? It's just, I hate it so much because it's just boring. I like complex debates. I like difficult conversations. I've said this many times. I like talking about things like abortion and euthanasia and gun control. Those things interest me because when I listen to both sides going at it, I hear good arguments from both sides. You hear, again, I know I'm going to piss off old Sadwings and all of the old right-wing religious conservatives, but when I hear them arguing about abortion, I think the pro-abortion lot make some good arguments. And then the anti-abortion lot talk, and they make some good arguments. And I sit there enraptured by it because I'm like, this is a great debate. I'm constantly flitting between this. And every time someone speaks, I hear more good things. And that keeps me interested. But when you have just this infantile shite, where a bloke was in charge for 4 years and nothing happened to any of his political adversaries or the activist lawyers or the people threatening him violence all the time, and nothing happened to any of them. It makes me angry because I'm just bored. I'm just bored. So that's that argument done, right? I don't need to rant anymore. If you say Donald Trump is a fascist, you're just wrong. And we can't have a debate about it. If he was a fascist, the ginger comedian would have ended up in the desert. Several dozen activist judges would have either been locked in a prison without a trial or a sham trial or disappeared completely. The helicopter rides would have been whirring in and out of fucking LAX every weekend. And at least, I mean, even Pinochet wasn't anywhere near as bad as a proper fascist like Mussolini or Tito. There's loads of ones worse than Pinochet. Pinochet was definitely a few helicopter rides, wasn't there? The reason Reagan and Thatcher turned a blind eye to Pinochet was because he wasn't that bad, but he definitely disappeared a few people. Trump, boring. Nobody got jailed. None of the activists disappeared. No helicopters. Nothing. Rule of law. Every time they said, oh my God, Trump's legislation, let's shoot it down on the Ninth Circuit, he went, well, back to the drawing board, let's do some more shit while we appeal that. That's all he did. So it's just boring. So Bill Crystal, you're a fucking idiot, Bill. Bill, have you still got Velcro shoes, Bill? I suspect you do. So that's a good one. What else have we got? Oh, yeah, old Daz is getting shit again. They hate Daz, don't they? Look at this twat. We can't move on, can we? We're stuck with Brexit and everything that came with it. Brexit. We're stuck with Brexit and everything that came with it. Listen, well, obviously, this is a fair point, isn't it? We can't move on. We're stuck with Brexit and everything that came with it. Yes, but you lost your referendum. I don't know how many times I've made this point over the last 3 years, but it bears repeating because these fucking morons don't get it. How can I put this as simplistically as possible? If you want to reverse Brexit, let's just stop beating around the bush. That's what you want. Stop pretending. Oh, no, I'm not in principle against Brexit. That's what you want. That's what you want. So let's just have it said, right? If you want to reverse Brexit, you can do that. Democracy works. There's a system in place for doing everything. If you want to reverse Brexit, dead easy. Dead easy, lads. Not complicated. You can reverse Brexit easy, right? Make a political party like Farage did, on a whim, like Farage did, with no support from any of the media, the mainstream media, the big networks, the TV stations, the radio waves, the Silicon Valley, nothing. Make a new party like Farage did and call it the Reverse Brexit Party. Just an idea for you. I mean, sort of similar to what he did. Yeah. And then campaign exclusively on all we care about is reversing Brexit and rejoining the European Union. And then, just like Mr. Farage did, if what you're saying is popular with the public, guess what? Millions and millions of them will vote for you. And just like Farage did, you'll go into the European elections. Well, not the European elections. It'd have to be via our local elections first. You'll go into the next round of elections and your party will win everything. Ooh, won't that be good? And then you'll have a mandate because you won an election. And then you say, right, now we're going for even more power. And in the next round of elections, a general election, then you'll run and say, we're going back in the European Union. We're going back in the European Union. And we're definitely having another referendum. And then you'll win all of them elections because the people support you. And then you have another referendum and you win that. And then you can go back in the European Union. Easy. And they'll have your hand off. They will have your hand off. It'll be up and in and out faster than a Prozzy's knickers. And then you're back in. Easy. How easy is that? And no, Mr. Dim Sum, that's just incorrect. Didn't take Farage 20 years. It took Farage 20 years of campaigning to get UKIP off the ground. But when, on a whim, he made the Brexit Party because the Tories were taking the piss and they weren't leaving the European Union, he formed the Brexit Party and then smashed everybody in the European elections in about 6 months. In about 6 months, because everybody felt so strongly about it. So it's easy. If there was genuine public support for staying in the European, for rejoining the European Union, it would happen because the process works. The system works. If there was massive public support for rejoining the EU, it would happen. But why do you think Labour haven't come all out and gone conquer deep in the idea? Definitely. Another referendum rejoin. Say it. If you think it, say it. But why won't Keir do it? Because he knows it ain't fucking happening. So this twat, just one of many millions, deranged fucking knobhead with, I'm sure he's got FBPE in his fucking profile. Oh no, we're stuck with Brexit. Yeah, you are, mate, you are. If you want to rejoin, vote for a party that commits to it, win some elections, and if you don't, stop crying about it. Because you're embarrassing yourselves, lads. It's embarrassing. I'd be less embarrassed if my nana caught me wanking. Sorry, I was less embarrassed when my nana caught me wanking. It's humiliating. Stop talking about it. It's been 6 years. Stop going on about it. Win an election. If you want to do something, win an election. And until then, stop dripping. What's this? Accused based on a screen grab of an outlet. I haven't actually looked at any of these. Don't know what that means. Liked it. Don't know who that guy is. Darren Grimes accused of predatory behaviour. I'll tell you what. How can a bloke like Darren Grimes be a predatory when he's the most soft-looking bastard you've ever seen? Predatory. It'd be like me being scared of Mini-Me. What's he going to do? Try and headbutt me in the bollocks? He'd need a running jump to headbutt me in the clems, the little shit. I'd just keep him at arm's length and just boot him in the nads over and over again. Predatory. Cheers, then. What's that one? It's got sweet FA to do with Brexit as well, you know. Oh, yeah, well, see, this is a good point. Look at this fucking maniac. Well, you know he's deranged because Liz Truss has got a Hitler tash. Liz Truss is Hitler now. Liz Truss. Boring, milk toast, run-of-the-mill Liz Truss. Yep, she's Hitler. They call everyone a grifter. Have you noticed that? They are having a pop at Darren Grimes saying, oh, you're a grifter, you're a grifter. Oh, you're a grifter. It's like, hang on. I said, how is everything a grift to you lunatics? Everyone who disagrees with a communist is a fascist, a Nazi, and a grifter. A grifter. Like, and let's just be clear, because I know some of you old boomers don't really, keep up on these newfangled terms. Grifter is a swindler, someone who basically, there you go, grifter, a person who engages in petty or small-scale swindling. So when they call you a grifter, they're basically saying you don't actually agree with what you're saying. You're just saying it to scam people out of money. So essentially, when they call you a grifter, they're saying Darren Grimes is a grifter to them. So that means Darren Grimes doesn't really believe in Brexit. In fact, he might be a Remainer, yeah? But he's saying he believes in Brexit because then he'll scam money off all the people who supported the Brexit campaign. And this insult is through at everybody. And it's laughably ridiculous because essentially what they're saying is, if you don't agree with my communist politics, you're a grifter. Darren Grimes, more than anybody, can't be a grifter on Brexit because he was so early to that party. So early to it, before it was obvious that the general public, it was before the referendum. Darren Grimes was involved in the Vote Leave campaign. It was before the referendum. So how can he be a grifter? It's not like that's going to be the popular. Everybody was told before the referendum that we were definitely going to stay in, definitely, because the BBC and the Guardian and Channel 4, Sky News, and everybody lied constantly. Oh, we're definitely staying in the European Union. The Leave vote's got no chance. Leave vote's got no chance. No, they're definitely not going to vote for Brexit. Self-harm. Definitely not. So how's he a grifter? If he was a grifter, he'd believe in Brexit and pretend he was a Remainer because that was apparently the popular position. And he didn't. Again, so I'm like, listen, it's been 6 years. Get a fucking grip. And he said, it's got nothing to do with Brexit, as well you know. Yeah, everybody on Twitter hates Darren Grimes. It's got nothing to do with Brexit. Why do you hate him then? He's gay. You normally like them boys, don't you? Judging by the amount of fucking flags you've got on your profile, you love them lads. So what do you mean it's got nothing to do with Brexit? Nothing? Why do you hate the gay bloke then? Bit weird. Bit weird, that. Anyway, shall we do some news? I've just been ranting for half an hour. Let's talk about the Italians. That has to be addressed, and the BBC's fucking loving it. BBC's loving that. Pissing myself laughing at their fucking shrill, shrieking, illogical, irrational behaviour regarding the Italians. The feed was brilliant this morning. Fucking brilliant. Where's the feed for this? Hopefully it's still on. Oh, no, it's not. It's boring when they get rid of the feed, because I just love reading people go mental in the live feeds. So, if you didn't hear, you've probably been living in a hall. Giorgia Meloni, Italy's far right, wins election and vows to govern for all. Straight off the bat, yeah, that's the type of rhetoric that you associate with fascists and Nazis, isn't it? I'm going to govern for all. That's what Mussolini said, that. Adolf was like, I'm definitely going to go for all. What? Jews? Yeah, like them. What? Jippos? Yeah, I'm well into them. Going to govern for all. Homosexuals can't get enough cock. Me. Going to govern for everyone. It's so ridiculous. Again, how right-wing is she? I already made a video about this last week. I don't think I can be bothered doing it again for the Italians, but we deduced from last week's excellent video, excellent, well edited, very professional, that the Swedish Prime Minister, old Jimmy Åkesson, turns out not really far right at all, is he? No. Nah. Right wing? Possibly. That's either an eyelash or a pube in my mouth. Definitely an eyelash. Although I did just get out of the shower today, so at least it's one of my own. Not far right, no. Well, we've already done this, ladies and gentlemen. We've already done it. There's no truth to any of it. So if I was to do a deep dive on Giorgia Meloni, I'm relatively sure that turns out she's a boring centre-right Democrat. Basically, that's what she's going to be, isn't she? Because we've already done this. We've already done it. Let's have a read. Let's see what bollocks they're right about it. You want to watch a video? Yeah, I'll drink some tea and we can watch a video.
I don't know about you, but I feel
fucking adverts.
I don't know about you, but I feel good.
Oh, look, and it took me to... Fuck you. Smirnoff advert. Where's the volume for this thing?
Sometimes you just got to give the people what they want.
I feel good.
Però quando stanotte sarà passata.
Right. Subtitles. So I'll just turn the volume down. Read them.
Quando questa notte sarà passata, noi dovremo ricordarci che non siamo a un punto d'arrivo. Noi siamo a un punto di partenza. È da domani che noi dobbiamo dimostrare il nostro valore. Il risultato elettorale, sapete meglio di me che i dati sono ancora, insomma, non definitivi, però mi pare che da quello che emerge dalle prime proiezioni si possa dire che dagli italiani in queste elezioni politiche è arrivata una indicazione chiara. E l'indicazione chiara è per un governo di centrodestra a guida Fratelli d'Italia. Quindi è importante capire che se saremo chiamati a governare questa nazione, lo faremo per tutti. Lo faremo per tutti gli italiani, lo faremo con l'obiettivo di unire questo popolo.
We will do it for all Italians. Didn't draw any lines in the sand, did she? She didn't say, going to do this for straight white male Italians. Going to do this for all Italians except the lessers. Didn't say that. Sounds a bit reasonable to me. Boring. When you do like sort of comical political commentary, the more out there, the better. You know, you want wacky people that can give you a bit of material. All of these far-right people are boring bastards. They don't say anything good. I can't riff on that, can I? There's nothing good there. At least if she came in and was like, I'm going to push Stephen Hawking down the stairs, the little cunt. There's something funny there, but there's nothing. There's nothing. At least I'm talking about rounding up the midgets or something, but they never do. So that tells you something, doesn't it? They never say anything good. Nothing that gives me a laugh. So there we go. Boring. Giorgia Meloni's fucking boring. Far right. She's about as right wing as my left knacker. Most right wing governments. Is she? Fucking Berlusconi. He was far right, wasn't he? Last minute. She said they will not betray people's trust and they'll govern for everyone. Ooh, scary. 26% of the vote ahead of Enrico Letta from the centre-left. And have you noticed that? Whenever they're talking about someone who's right-wing, they're always far right, extremist right, fascist, Nazi, fascist, Hitler, fascist, Nazi. But whenever it's someone from the left, it's always, centre left, centre left. He probably is a communist, but they never call him it. Jeremy Corbyn, communist. Never called him that though, did they? They never call the SNP Marxists. They always just go, centrist SNP. The SNP are commie fucks. There's a nice polite term we could use. Commie fucks. So, hang on. If we're going to start doing it for everybody right of centre, everybody's far right. Jimmy Atkinson, far right. Miss Maloney, far right. All right, then. Well, call Enrico Letta, dirty, stinking, mountain of skulls everywhere you go, Pol Pot's best mate, Mao's fucking knackers, dirty commie ratbag. Start calling them that. And then it's fair, isn't it? Far right, everybody who's not a communist. Centre left, full-blown commie ratbag. Centre left. Here is a picture of centre left Mr. Letta pointing a Luger at someone as he poshes them into the salt mines. What a load of bollocks. Whenever anybody's far left, centre left. And when everybody's one smidgen right of left wing, far right. Like I said, Boris Johnson. There's no way. Boris Johnson's left wing. Boris Johnson's centre left. If Boris Johnson's centre left, what the fuck is Enrico Letta? Because I want to know. I suspect Mr. Letta is not very centrist. I suspect Mr. Letta is well behind unionised, centralised agriculture controlled by the state and every schoolboy being told, you're pulling turnips for the next 20 years, you little shit. That's what I think. But what do I know? What do I know? I didn't go to Harvard. Look, which also, everybody. Miss Maloney's right-wing alliance, which also includes Salvini's far-right league. And, there we go, centre-right, finally. So we've got someone who's centre-right, far-right. Everybody's far-right. Fuck me. I think Silvio Berlusconi was called far-right about 8 years ago. Now he's centre-right. Oh, no, now he is. And he'll take control of the Senate and the chamber with about 44% of the vote. The dramatic success disguised the fact our allies performed poorly. Yeah, because our allies went into a coalition government with a load of screaming lefties and didn't do jack shit. So, yeah, that's why. Spain's far-right Vox party, she said yes to the national family, no to the LGBT lobby. Yes to sexual identity, no to gender ideology. No to, nearly said the I word, no to the followers of Alan's legendary snack bar. Yes to secure borders, no to mass migration. No to big international finance, no to the bureaucrats of Brussels. Fucking, that is brilliant. Let's put that up in big. Yeah, let's blow that up. That's brilliant. That is fucking sound. And I will point out the obvious ones. She didn't say no to the existence of LGBT people, which is what they always say, don't they? Oh, why are you denying my existence? Because they've been trained, these trained Marxists, to quote Patrice Cullors, they've been trained how to get what they want. And how you get what you want is you always bang on about violence and safety. Anytime anybody disagrees with you, you go, violence, that's violence, that. They're disagreeing with me, that makes them violent. And then the police go, fucking hell, well, if it's violence, we've got to get rid of them. Or safety. Oh my God, I'm unsafe. Someone's disagreed with me, I'm unsafe. So they always talk about this stuff, safety issue. Oh my God, safety, violence. At no point did she advocate aggression or violence towards LGBT people, because she's well aware that there's going to be some conservative right-wing LGBT people out there who voted for her. And they did. Something else that's self-evident. They keep talking about Trump. Oh my God, he's a racist. About 20% of black men voted for Trump. I believe the overall statistic was about 12%. But the women skewed that figure. It was about 20% of black men voted for Trump. So if you've got 1 million black blokes in a stadium, 200,000 of them voted for Trump. But they'll just instantly decry that fact as if they don't exist and say, oh my God, Trump wants to gas all the blacks. He had a party at the White House and you've got like 100 black dudes with MAGA hats on and they go, oh my God, Trump's fascist and all his followers are Nazis. Black people vote for Trump. LGBT people voted for Maloney. Everybody's not an ideologue like you, commie rats. Some gay people are conservative. Some black people are conservative. They don't vote with you because they don't see what you put your cock in and think, oh, therefore I know everything about that person. So this is ludicrous to call this far-right rhetoric. She didn't say round up and gas all the LGBT people. She didn't say that. She said no to the LGBT lobby, which is a communist far-left group that spouts absolute shit that I happen to know most ordinary, dull, boring old, let's say, gay men and lesbians don't agree with. How many lesbians are coming out against the T's? How many? Have you ever listened to Posey Parker's phone in? I always listen to that. She's good. Turf Talk Tuesday. The amount of lesbians who ring up and say, I don't want to suck a bloke off. This is quite surprising. And I say that because obviously it shouldn't be surprising that lesbians don't want to give blokes a gobble. But it is now because the left have turned everything up on its head, upside down, back to front. Now it sounds weird. But every time I listen to her phone in, you've got lesbians going, yeah, I definitely don't want to suck a bloke off. So I'm going to vote for the Conservatives. And you get gay men going, I just want to be left alone to watch the rugby and occasionally suck my boyfriend off. So I'm voting Conservative. Loads of the LGB vote Conservative. So this is nonsense. She's not anti-LGBT. She's speaking out against the LGBT lobby, which is a vastly, vastly different thing. And if you don't know that, you don't know anything. Notice sexual identity. She's not saying round up all the gays. She's saying the identity part is weird because facts and reality matter and what people are born matter. And just announcing on a whim, oh yeah, well I might have a 10-inch lob on, but today I'm off in the little girls' changing rooms at the fucking Dolphin Centre because I've decided I'm a split ass for 2 hours. That's not that weird to only the T's in the lobby because they're mental. But to the rest of humanity and anybody who's within a foot of the centre, they think it's weird as fuck. So it's the identity, not the sex. She's not against women. She's not against the LGBT community. She's just against the lobby. And she's not against anybody who happens to follow a different religion. She didn't say no to absolutely everybody who isn't a Christian fanatic. She said no to, can't say the word, no to the people who go to the big gold bell ends to pray. Violence. Violence. She didn't say no to just generic ones. She said no to I-bomb violence. Big difference, isn't it? Big difference. But they'll report this speech. They'll just put it. In fact, I've seen it on Twitter. They've just said she hates the LGBT. She hates Alan's lads. She hates immigrants. She hates. She doesn't. She's targeting political groups, lobbies, identities, violence. Not your average run-of-the-mill eye, your big, stabby, violent eye. It's a pretty big difference. So, yeah, cheers easy. Cheers easy, Miss Maloney. There he is. She pissed it. She pissed it. So that's called democracy, ladies and gents. Suck on it. If you don't like it, run against her and win. But until you do, wind your fucking neck in. Wind your neck in. This is what I'm sick and tired of hearing. I am sick and tired of hearing Twitter twats gob off when they can't win an election. If you don't like the Brothers of Italy, run against them. But there was a left-wing option, a centre-left option, and they got twatted. So shut the fuck up. You don't like it, win an election. Or until you do, wind your neck in. I'm sick of it. There's no need for us to discuss it anymore. You can't win an election because the people don't like you. And just because The Guardian and the BBC and Owen Jones and all of these lefty arseholes are arrogant and rich and posh and everybody listens to them and the mainstream media promotes them and Silicon Valley wanks them off, they think that their opinion's worth 1,000 times yours. Owen Jones really does think that if he votes, his vote should be counted 100,000 and your vote should be counted 0.5. He thinks that's how it works, because if he didn't, he wouldn't be gobbing off constantly about undoing all of the things that people democratically vote for. The left are snakes. They're snakes. I wouldn't have a problem if the Democratic Party won and beat the Brothers of Italy and they said, we're going to do left-wing things, because that means the people of Italy voted for left-wing things. But constantly, when you're right of centre in the fucking West, the general public votes for a centrist or a right-wing party, and all they get is left-wing shit. That's not what we voted for. And if you want to do left-wing shit, run on a left-wing platform, a left-wing shit platform, and publish a left-wing shit manifesto and make some left-wing shit posters and win the fucking election. And if you don't win the election, wind your neck in. Fucking do one. All right? Anyway, there's nearly an hour. You can have that for now, you twats. I think I'll do another art giveaway this week, because I checked my PayPal today. You know what? In 3 months, the only person who bought the Bootneck a pint was Gary Melville, and nobody even knows who fucking Gary Melville is. So the worst thing I ever did was monetize this channel, hoping that they'd actually show my shit to people when they don't. And I think I've made about $4 in 3 months. It's shit. I've still never had a payout off YouTube. I don't know how it works. So yeah, I'm going to do another art giveaway. If you want to be included in it, you best use the tyrannical, authoritarian shitbags on Ko-Fi or PayPal, whatever the fuck it is, and I'll put your name in the hat. Gary Melville, I mean, he can just have one. Gary, if you're listening, PM me. I'll send you some shit. Because he's obviously a living legend. We just don't know who he is. or he set up a direct debit by accident and he's not aware of it. So Gary Melville, phone me, text me, email me. I'll send you some shit. Anybody else, you'll have to hope for the best. Thanks for watching, ladies and gents. I haven't got work tomorrow, so I'll do a stream tomorrow as well. All right? I spoil you, twats. I do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. All right? Cheers easy. See you later.